Have you with us. We are live, and welcome to our webinar for the day. This is brand new content, and it's 10 secrets to successful email marketing. Now, I am going to pause the camera because that, in all likelihood, will slow down the connectivity, and I want to be sure that you get the best experience possible. So my name is Ken Countess, and I'm Managing Director of the Countess Group. We're a marketing and communications company based in the Orlando, Florida area. And I'm really delighted that you're with me today. I think you're in for a real treat. We're going to talk about email marketing and how you can get better results from the email campaigns you may be running. As you can see on the slide, I'm a constant contact local authorized expert. I'm one of their partners, master certified, and the significance there is that there are only a handful of us that have that master certification. We go through a pretty intense training and vetting process, and out of the over 10,000 people who may be constant contact solution providers, as I say, there are just a handful of us that are master certified. And also, I'm a Microsoft authorized Office 365 sales specialist. So here's my contact information. I hope that you will, after the webinar, join us on as many of these social media channels as you currently use. There's no need to write everything down, by the way. You'll be getting a copy of everything that you see on screen sometime after the webinar is complete. It'll be an email, of course, that you get from me. And there will be a link in the email that will allow you to download a copy of the presentation. So let's get things going. I mentioned the master certification. What I didn't mention was that I was a winner of Constant Contact's All-Star Award. And I was really pleased and surprised to have received that honor. It really distinguishes the Countess Group as one of the top providers for constant contact. And we are, as I mentioned, a full-service marketing consultancy. So what does that mean? It means we handle not only strategic marketing and communications of all facets. You may have a need for a marketing director on a full or a part-time basis, and we can function in that role for you easily. We can put a strategic plan together, help you execute it. We'll talk today, of course, about email marketing. You may have some reservations about how to use social media marketing. Maybe your website needs a tune-up. There are so many people that I know of that look at their website and say, gee, I wish this were better. We can help you with that. Public relations, video marketing, just about anything related to marketing your business or nonprofit is something that we can help you with. In terms of background, these are some of the places I've spent a fair amount of time at. You probably have heard of Motorola. It used to be one of the dominant electronic suppliers. I spent 22 years there. Spent time at Marriott, and a company that's now part of CVS. And I was a senior partner at a marketing consultancy called Ascend Marketing. It's now a 40-person firm, and it was really a wonderful experience. And clients over the last 15 years have included names such as the ones you see on screen, but scores of small to medium-sized businesses and nonprofits. And so what's the significance of that? Well as having the big-time marketing experience at big companies, I've been a small business owner now for all or part of the last 15 years. And what that means for you as an attendee of this webinar is I know what you're going through. I call it play, about 70 hours a week. Because as a solopreneur or someone that has a staff, we have 7 people that work with us at the Countess Group, either full or part-time. But there's still precious little time to get everything done, whether it's invoicing or marketing or running your operation and so on. And so what's the benefit of working with a company like the Countess Group? Well, it gives you a chance to take care of the things you'd much rather be doing, like run your business. And so we can handle the marketing activity for you on a, as I mentioned before, on a full or part-time basis. And after the webinar, if you decide that you need some additional help in some area, feel free to reach out to us and give us a call. Okay, so let's get into the topic. What is it that we're going to talk about? Well, first, I'm going to present you with some surprising facts. Some of this may be shocking to you. We'll go into the 10 secrets of effective, successful email marketing. And by the way, stay for the whole event because I've actually got a couple of bonus items in there too. So it's actually more than just 10 secrets. And then we'll touch on the fact that you have to use email marketing and social media marketing. In fact, in many circles, email is considered a part of email, a part of social media marketing, rather. And the fact is that you really do need to do both. And then we'll talk about next steps. After you get done off the webinar today, for many of us, it's okay, I've got to get back to what I was doing. It was a valuable hour, but now I need to get back and do the other stuff. But what I want to present you with is the notion that you can really start getting things underway. The great news about today being Friday is that if you still have a few things to wrap up before you close shop for the week, you can actually try some of these things over the weekend if you choose to. Okay, so I want to present you with a few surprising facts out of some recent studies. Here's one that was done by the Content Marketing Institute. And these are folks that look at all sorts of things related to marketing. And here's what they found in a recent study, that 80% or more, with one exception, and it's really close to 80%, but 80% or more of all businesses, small, big, nonprofit, all around the world, they're all using email marketing. And why do they use email marketing? It's because they find it so effective. If you're using email appropriately, correctly, you'll find it'll be phenomenally effective for you. And here's another study that was done recently by an organization called Exact Target. What Exact Target found is that 77% of consumers prefer to be marketed to using email marketing. 77% prefer to be marketed to through email. And that's when compared to using other tools such as print, broadcast, outdoor advertising, other social media, and so on. That's pretty astounding. And here's what an article recently in Forbes said. It said that customer acquisition via email has more than quadrupled in the last 4 years. Now think about that for a minute. Customer acquisition, meaning new customers, have been delivered via email 4 times more than social media in the last 4 years. And think about this again. All we hear about every day is Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and so on. And email is outperforming them by a factor of 4 to 1. Also, customers who come to businesses through email tend to shop more and spend more. So I want to pose a quick poll to you. Now that we've got quite a number of people on this webinar, I'm going to launch this poll. What is your biggest challenge with email marketing? Just take a moment, take a look at the question, and select one of those 3. Finding the time to write a newsletter, finding enough content for the newsletter, or maybe simply your open rates aren't high enough. Let's see what the responses are. We've got just a third of you, 40% of you so far have voted. Let's see if we can get the rest of the crowd here to vote. And then we'll close the poll and show what the outcome was. Okay, got a couple more of you we're waiting on. Okay. So what what was the outcome? Well, it's interesting. It was a pretty even split that open rates aren't high enough and trouble finding enough content for the newsletter. And then finding the time to write the newsletter was lowest on the list. And that's all really good news. So let's get back and let's now talk about what we really want to know. Well, first, I want to let you know that if you're doing email marketing on an average level, it should be returning $43 to every dollar you spend. That's the ROI, or return on investment. So let's talk about those campaigns and newsletters. And as we get started, one of the things I want to be sure is that we're all thinking about marketing exactly the same way. So I'm going to give you a simple definition or a framework for what marketing really is. Now, you know generally what it is, but when I use the word marketing, I mean something very specific. So it's important that we're all on the same page. My definition of marketing has three simple parts. You define an audience. That's a group of people you want to target, and you reach out to them with a message that's specific to that audience. And then you seek to elicit a physical, measurable response. And that may mean a click, a reply, a call, a purchase, a referral. All of these are actions that represent a decision made by a human to react to your messaging. So keep this in mind as I talk about marketing and marketing campaigns and the ways to deliver the most effective campaigns. And you're doing these things, of course, because you want people, your customers, your clients, your donors or supporters if you're a nonprofit, to actually do something. So let's break down what a campaign is. You know, what does it really mean? Well, very simply, and there are two parts to a campaign. The first part is you push out some sort of content. And we'll talk more about what kind of content in a little bit to your followers and supporters and so on. And then next, you hope to pull some sort of a response from them. You want them to read or forward or share what you send, show up, call, attend. You basically want them to take an action of some sort. So think about a campaign in terms of push-pull. And more, don't think about it as just putting an offer out there and making a sale. In today's marketing world, it's much more like a conversation. And this is a big advantage of small businesses over big businesses, because as a smaller business or nonprofit, you can engage in a conversation that feels, and in fact is, much less like a sales gimmick and much more like nurturing a relationship. And if you're doing it right, it'll seem like that from both sides of the conversation. And so what's a newsletter? Well, simply put, it's a communication that you send, and usually through email, to your customers and supporters and clients and volunteers. And you're sharing information and relevant insights that they want to read. And if we think about different kinds of newsletters, they basically break down in this way. There are lots of different kinds of newsletters, communications. Loosely, we refer to them all as newsletters that you might send. And these are just a couple of examples, from sending a quick update just to keep your audience informed, to a simple card or an announcement, all the way to what we might call a custom code email, where you or a designer you work with create your own email in a platform using your own custom code. So the situation today basically looks like this. We are all pressed for time, aren't we? And we're exposed to thousands of messages every day. In fact, we've been conditioned, and maybe not necessarily in such a great way. Here is a study done by a group called the Statistic Brain. And what they found was this, that the average attention span in 2013 of a human being was 8 seconds. Now think about that. How much time then do you really have to get somebody's attention, keep their attention? Not very much. unless you have something that's very engaging. So with this as a backdrop, as marketers, what can we do to cut through the clutter and be memorable? Well, here's where we've got the 10 secrets to successful email marketing. By the way, if you have any questions along the way, feel free to use the question box. I'll be checking that periodically throughout the webinar. So here we go with secret number 1, and that is overcoming the content challenge. Now, a few of you, more than a few of you, said, gee, you know, content is a bit of a challenge for me. I have no idea what to write. So it's really a lot easier than you might think. You know, what do you write about in your newsletter? Yeah, for many people, that's the biggest hurdle. And thankfully, luckily maybe, the answer can be pretty simple. First and foremost, you write about your expertise. You talk about things that you know that your audience doesn't know. Basically, you're sharing your knowledge, and that raises your profile as an expert in your field. And then next, you write about things that you have access to that your audience doesn't have access to. And that may be easier than you think. This may mean that you allow them to download a special report, give them backstage passes, provide early registration options, maybe reserve their special seating, maybe an extra hour of your time when they pay for 2. Give it away when you can. What you're doing here is you're building what is called a resource relationship. When their need for what you do comes up, you are the person that comes to mind. So it's okay to give away your knowledge and your access when you can, because the fact is you're not really giving away everything you know, are you? And you don't have to be prolific either, writing original content or original material every time. You just need to be the hub or the point of access. So send links to other sources. Maybe there was something you found on the web that you wanted to share with somebody else or with the rest of your audience. That positions you as the expert because you know where to find the things that are important and relevant to people who are following you. And that's why they follow you. Okay, secret number 2 is on newsletter length and appearance. Now, if you have been using email marketing for some time, some of this may be surprising to you. And if you're new to it, this will be very welcome news. Life has changed a lot. And with respect to email marketing, it's changed a lot just in the last 2 to 3 years. Take a look at the email on the left. And that's an email that you may have seen in your mailbox not all that long ago, maybe a year or 2 ago, and look how much content is in there. And same for the one on the right. There's an awful lot of stuff out there. And will you or your audience take the time to read all of that material? Now, many people are looking at their email on a smart device, whether that be a smartphone or a tablet. And there's precious little real estate on that screen, isn't there? And so what that means for us as marketers is that we really need to be very cognizant of where our emails are being read. Which begs the question then, okay, well, how much is enough? Does anybody here really like to get a really long email? Go ahead and raise your hand. Use that raise your hand button on the control panel if you like to read really long emails. Yeah, nobody raises their hands. You know, I'm in front of about 3,000 people a year live in classroom style, and never once has anybody raised their hand that they like to read a long email. Now, if you're a church or a chamber of commerce or a school, you may very well have long emails, and we are okay with receiving those because our businesses and our children rely on you, and we want to see activity. So we're willing to receive a long email. We may not read them. but it's okay that we see them. So take the pressure to create or write off of yourself, because in today's world, less is more, always. There's really no rule that says your newsletter needs to have 3 articles, 3 pictures, and 3 links. One thing is plenty. I've got a customer whose newsletter is 1 photo and 1 paragraph that he sends to his readers, and that link in the email sends readers to his website. Now, he does this to make it easy on himself, and it works really well. People can absorb it quickly, and he's not under the gun to come up with a bunch of content to fill it. And check this out. More than half of us today are checking our email on a mobile device. So who is going to scroll through 14 articles in an email? The fact is, the data is out there. 78% of us do not scroll to the bottom of an email. Let me repeat that. 78% of us don't scroll to the bottom of an email. So why waste the time to create emails that don't fit on a screen, or maybe you scroll down a little bit to see, but you can save yourself a lot of time by keeping your emails short. That's what keeps them engaging, because long emails are not for telling people everything that you do. That's what your website is for. Your email and your social media is about offering one thing at a time and then tracking whether or not it moved the needle. Pure and simple. So here's a sample of that email that I mentioned from one of our clients a short time ago. Quick email, a picture on the top, a quick headline, 1 paragraph, and a link at the bottom to check out his website. That's it. Sends it out twice a month, and he gets a very high open rate. So I mentioned he has 1 image at the top. Let's talk for a moment about images. Here's secret number 3 in being a successful email marketer. We're very conditioned today, aren't we, to seeing and reacting to images. We see them all the time on social media. We see them fairly often in good emails. But 67% of users don't have images activated. So what do we mean by that? It means that when they open up an email, if the images are not activated, this is what they see. They see a little red X right over there. And they have to activate the images so they know what it is you're trying to communicate. And many people don't take the time or don't want to take the time to activate the images. So if you have something really engaging, your message may be lost. And well, we all know that a picture is worth 1,000 words, and the truth is that pictures get much more click-through activity than content without images. But you can't over-rely on images. So in order to get around the situation, be sure that you use text labels. It's called alt text, in case images are not displayed by your recipient's mail program. And remember, again, that your content is viewed very frequently on mobile devices. 30% of America no longer has a computer. They look at everything on tablets and smartphones. So remembering that your content is viewed on mobile devices, be sure that you check by sending a test email to yourself. Check and make sure that your email is displaying properly on that mobile device. And that will help ensure that you get a much higher rate of engagement. Okay. Secret number 4 is all about the call to action. It's really great that we send emails out, but what we really want is high engagement. And how do you get high engagement? It's by making sure that the reader knows your call to action. You know, what is it in here that makes someone want to read your email? If you take a look at this email right here, that organization, RealWorks, was featured in Time magazine. And the whole story in their email is based on this link to a video. Basically, they're using the Time logo as a way to attract attention. And there's a little triangle in here. And basically the message is, click this link so you can see what Time wrote about us. This is a great looking email. I'm going to refer to it in just another minute. It looks really attractive, doesn't it? But what do you do with that email? Do you know what to do? Here, there's a lot of stuff going on, but you want to be sure that the reader knows what the call to action is. How do you make a reservation? What are the hours? None of that is very visible on this email. So, thinking about that call to action, looking at this email again, this is for a nonprofit. It's the Boys and Girls Clubs of Asbury Park, New Jersey. And it's a save the date. That's great. But wouldn't it be far more advantageous if there were a link to book your tickets right there on screen on that email? That's not there, so it's a missed opportunity. I'm going to go through now secrets 5, 6, and 7, which all have to do with getting that email opened. There are 3 words you need to think about, and those are now, later, and never. And those are 3 little words that may rule your world. The first thing we're going to talk about is, who is that email from? The second is, what's the subject? And the third is, when do you send your communication? Okay? Those are secrets 5, 6, and 7. So let's look at secret 5 in some detail. How do you get your newsletter opened? The first thing you want to be thinking about is, who is it from? 68% of us decide whether we're going to open up an email based on who it's from. So this is about winning the battle of priorities. Think about how you look at your inbox. When you check your inbox first thing in the morning, what are you doing first? You're probably looking to see who sent you an email since the last time you checked your inbox. And you're probably doing a mental sort. Is it from the boss? Is it from a customer? Is it from friends and family? 68% of us decide whether we're going to open up an email based on who it's from. So make sure you are consistent in how you present your name or your business. Be consistent across all of the different tools through which you market your organization. Email, LinkedIn, Instagram, Google+, Facebook, whatever. Use the same name everywhere. And if people know you as a business owner by your name, then use your name. If they know you as your business or nonprofit, then have the subject line, rather the from line, be your company name. If you're not sure, it's okay to use both. You'll find an email that you receive from me, it'll say Ken Countess, comma, the Countess Group, because there are some people who know us as our company name and others that know me personally. So don't be afraid to use both. That will undoubtedly increase your open rate. The second secret on how to get your newsletter opened is on the subject line. The subject line accounts for 38% of opens. And once again, we're talking about winning a battle of priorities. We are all so busy. We're doing such a quick scan on everything coming into our inbox. And when I say we, I'm asking you to think about not only your activity, but anticipating, putting yourself in the shoes of your audience. What are they thinking? What are they hit with every single day? We have something we call the 2-2-2 rule, which means you have 2 seconds to get the attention, capture the attention of your audience. You need to do that in the first 2 words of your subject line. Now, I'm not saying that the subject line can be only 2 words. Of course not. I'm probably the worst at that. But 2 seconds, 2 words to get them to open it today. So the point is that those first 2 words really need to be engaging. So let's look at a couple of sample subject lines. one that says March newsletter is probably not going to get a very high open rate compared to something like this. Tomorrow, need 3 hammers. Can you help? The second one may be Joe's Pet Store newsletter. Now, I don't know if there are any Joes on this call, but Joe's Pet Store newsletter is not likely to get a very high open rate compared to Alert, help your dog beat the heat. Now notice the first 2 words are very strong sense of urgency kind of phrases. The third example, children's classes, probably not terribly engaging, but still time. Openings available for children's classes, much more likely to get you a higher open rate. Now, secret number 7 on how to get your newsletter open talks about the time of day and the day of week that you send out your email. I'm going to launch another poll here. How often do you send out a newsletter or announcement? Several times a month? Once a month? Once a quarter? Maybe you use email marketing, but less than once a quarter? Or you haven't used email marketing yet? Go ahead and give me your answers, and I'll share them with everybody in just a moment. Okay, we've got another minute, and we'll close the poll. We've got just about everybody voting. It looks like we're waiting for 2 more people. Okay, great. So we'll close the poll, and here are the results. What you said is that by and large, you send out an email several times a month, followed closely by once a month. And about 20% of us haven't used email marketing yet, and a few of you are using email marketing, but less than once a quarter. Let me show you why I asked the question in that fashion. It's because when you send an email out, it's really important. For most businesses, monthly is most common. It's also a good idea to add unexpected messages every once in a while, especially if they relate to an exciting announcement about your organization. And as you start trying to determine when the best time to send your newsletter or announcement is, the real question you want to answer is, when will my readers be most likely to take the action I want? When will they be most likely to click through to an article I posted, or to come into my store after reading an article, or maybe register for an event? Use those as a starting point. I want to talk about some simple steps that you can take to really zero in on the best day and time to send your newsletter. But what I want you to do, too, for those of you who said you send out newsletters several times a month, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of your audience and ask yourself, if you're sending out a newsletter once a week and the people in your audience are being inundated by email just about every day. I get 550 emails a day. That's no joke. 550 emails a day. So if you're sending me an email a couple times a week or even once a week rather than once a month, there's a good probability that I'll begin to not open some of what you've sent me, because I have to wonder, how much really important, valuable material can you possibly send every day or every week? So in terms of when to send or post, you have to, again, think about your audience. How often do they want to hear from you? You also really need to think about time of day and day of week. For different businesses, the scheduling is different. For many B2B organizations, business-to-business organizations, midday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is most common and most effective. For consumer businesses, evenings and weekends tend to work pretty well. Think about moms and dads who come home from work and check their personal email. That'll obviously be in the evenings and weekends. And here's a surprising tip for you. that the highest click-through rate on emails tends to be on the weekend, and specifically Saturday afternoons at about 2 o'clock. And you may think to yourself, how is that possible? Well, think about maybe you're out shopping with your significant other. One of you is probably bored to tears and checking your email, or maybe you're out on the soccer field or on the basketball court watching one of your kids play, or you have some downtime during the afternoon at when you're at a meeting or traveling. So think about how you can get the most out of the emails that you send out, because as you can probably realize, you really just get one shot at it for each email. The next piece is getting the cash register to ring. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I don't want you to be enamored or even romanced by a high open rate, because the high open rate is nice, but an open rate doesn't get your cash register to ring. So be sure that you measure actions. So here's an example for you to consider. This is an actual report showing up in my personal email account dashboard not very long ago. And in one of the emails that I want to highlight for you, this was the set of results 18 hours after I hit the send button. And what you can see here is that the email was sent out on a Monday afternoon at about 2 o'clock. That's where you see it up here. This is in a Constant Contact dashboard. For those that are using Constant Contact, this will be familiar to you. The open rate was 26%. The click-through rate was nearly 30%. And how did I figure out that Mondays are a good time to send out an email? It's by polling the audience. I actually sent a survey out and asked the audience of about 2,000 people. You could see the number there is 1,803 were sent. And I did a survey and said, when would you like me to send this particular newsletter out each month? And the overwhelming response was, send it to us on Monday. So what I'll share with you is that the open rate was more like 15% before doing the survey, and the click-through rate was probably more like 15 to 18% before the survey was done. And so think about how valuable that can be to you as a business owner when you know when your audience wants to receive emails from you. And you can see how your activity compares to that of your competitors really quite easily. This is from that same dashboard. I'm looking at a graph here of the activity of all of the emails that I had sent out over a certain period. This dotted blue line going across the bottom of the page is the industry average for consultants in the marketing industry. And you can, for yourself, change the industry. But for the average consultant, it's about an 18% open rate. This solid green line going across the top that I'm highlighting now, that was our open rate, email by email. And as you could see, our open rates were far higher than other consultants. This dotted red line going across the bottom of the page is the industry average for consultants on click-throughs, the click rate. And you could see it's hovering at about 12%. And with the exception of just one email, our click-through rate was much, much higher than other consultants. So use that information to your advantage. This will give you a very easy, quick read on how well your emails are performing versus others in your industry. Here's a sample email that I sent out the morning before I was about to do a speaking engagement at a trade show. I did about 140 classes last year. Many of them were online, but most of them were in a classroom setting. I sent that at 7 in the morning, and by 8 in the morning, here were the results. Half of the people had already opened up the email, which was way above the industry average click rate. But the really great news is, take a look at that number 8 that I've highlighted here. When you click on that number, that tells you who opened your email, and it'll even tell you how many times they opened up the email. And had I had something in there for them to click through to, I could see what the level of engagement was based on the number of clicks. Secret number 9, limit the number of choices you give people in your email. Now, we're all very tempted to put as much as we can in an email, hoping that somebody will click on every single link that we have. And for your most engaged audience, those raving fans of yours, they may click through many of them, but not all of the links. So limit the choices that you offer for someone in your email. And make all of your images clickable too. Add those text labels. And make sure that you test your links on yourself. And make sure they work well on your mobile device as well. Secret number 10 is use text. Don't use a lot of text, but make sure you use text and not only images in your email. And here's why. 67% of people do not see images in an email by default. If you think about when you receive an email, whether it's on your smartphone or tablet or on your desktop machine, oftentimes you have to activate the images from the sender in order to see them. Some people take the time to do it, some people don't. Text links do get more clicks than buttons do. Again, remember that buttons are images and they don't always show up in an email. And always, always include your company name in the text of your email. The reason for that is if images aren't activated, then people will not see your logo. And so if they don't see the logo and your company name doesn't appear anywhere in the email, they may not realize who it's from, and they may click unsubscribe, they may delete, so that becomes a lost opportunity. So now that I've talked about a number of different ways that you can think about making your newsletters more effective, let me touch on how email and social media work together. This is really important. I'm not going to go into depth about email and social together, but I want to cover just a few highlights for you. Not very long ago, all the way back to 2008, only 10% of small businesses were using social media marketing. And here's the latest data. This just came out this week. 88% now of small businesses and nonprofits are using social media. That's an 8-fold increase in just 6 years. So why has that number gone up? It's because social media. And as small business owners, we don't do things that don't work. We just don't have the time, do we? So it shows how just integral social media has become as a marketing tool for all organizations. But when I say it works, well, what really do I mean by that? Well, very simply, it influences decisions. About 3/4 of us rely on social networks to guide purchase decisions. Think about when you go to buy something on Amazon. You're probably checking reviews that are written by other people. Or if you're looking for a restaurant to go to, you may go to Yelp.com to check out the reviews and see whether that's a great place to go, because you're probably not going to go to a restaurant where the parking lot is empty. And then once you have that experience, good or bad, you may actually go ahead and share those purchases on social networks yourself. And by the way, for a nonprofit, for a charity, 68% of people learn more about a charity if they see a friend posting about it. So it's really powerful. You really do have to use both. Social media amplifies your email, and it drives people back to join your list, so you can then email them on a pretty regular basis. Very powerful. Here are a couple of examples. This one is Boloco. Boloco is a burrito chain up in the Northeast, in the Boston area, New England, and so on. And they use email marketing and social media marketing together. It's incredibly effective. It's consistency with their logo and their messaging across multiple platforms. They use great images and terrific subject lines. Here's one, a nonprofit. You probably know, the Girl Scouts. This is the Girl Scouts of Northeast Texas, and they're leveraging both email and social media together. They, like Boloco, carry their branding across different platforms. They use images in their channels. They have a lot of great original content, and they use some of their content to target the parents and other content to target the girls. And then lastly, here's Tax Talk from Liberty Tax. This is a services business, and they're leveraging both email and social media together. And again, you can see brand consistency, great design, lots of helpful tips, and links. So those are the 10 secrets. Here's secret number 11. These are ways to extend and expand your campaign's reach. One of the ways to do that is using a social sharing tool. In Constant Contact, it's called Simple Share. And Simple Share enables you to share your content simultaneously, meaning at the same time you send out your email, you can share it on Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and later in the year you should expect to be able to share it on other channels as well. And this is a button or a menu bar that you may have seen on emails that you've received or sent out yourself. And this allows someone receiving your email to share your message across different social channels. So Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Pinterest, and so on. They make it very, very easy. Now, here's why this is so important. The average number of friends a Facebook user has, for example, is 300. So imagine sending your email out to your email marketing list, and one of the people receiving your email decides, boy, this is really great content. I'm going to share it on Facebook. So now your newsletter is in front of people that you don't even know. And so be sure that you add the Join My Newsletter link in every email you send out, because if that email is shared across different social platforms, you can easily grow your list. Secret number 12 is autoresponders. All mail services have them. Some people use them effectively. Some don't even know they exist. But here's the autoresponder list for my own subscribers. And what you're looking at right here is a series of autoresponders that get sent out to people who sign up for a trial account through the Countess Group. And the activity level of engagement can be very, very high. Here, there's an 89% open rate on the day one email that we send out to trialers. And what I mean by that is if someone decides to sign up for an account, we have it set up to where automatically, without us having to do anything, an email will go out on day 1, day 2, day 3, day 6, and so on, with helpful hints and tips on how to get the most out of your email campaign. And you can see there the click rate is also very, very high compared to an average. So what happens next? Well, my recommendation is that if you're not using email marketing or you're not using it frequently, go ahead and start today. The reason is, as I mentioned before, that email marketing's return on investment, if you're just doing an average job, is 43 to 1. So if you spend $100, for example, you can expect no less than $4,300 in return. Here's an example of one of my clients who generated $250,000 in revenue in just 6 months using only email marketing to promote her business. She started using it in May of 2013 and called me at the end of November 2013, all excited. She said, "You can't believe this. I generated $250,000 in new sales only using email marketing." In fact, she called me the other day and said, "I want to do a video. I want to be a testimonial." I'm actually going to encourage her to be a presenter at one of our upcoming events. So my question to you is this: would you invest $20 a month in your business to grow your business with a 43 to 1 return on investment? I think the odds are pretty good that you would. So if you're not yet using email, this is really a good time to start. There are no contracts. It starts at $20 a month. We give you a free hour of help We'll create an email marketing template that matches the look of your website. That's free of charge when you get a paid subscription. And it also gives you access, whether you've got a paid account or a trial account, to be able to send out newsletters and announcements, of course. You can create offers and promotions that are completely under your control. You can do events and have people register for those events 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There's a significant number of you that are on today's webinar that signed up over a weekend and during the nighttime, and it's all automated. So I didn't have to be around, nor did my assistant, to accept your reservation. It was all handled in the background. And what a great way to get feedback from your clients. If you send them a survey, people love to participate in surveys if you keep them short. And we have special webinars that will teach you exactly how to run a survey for your company, and it gives you some really great insight. And talking about future webinars, here's one more poll for you before we close out. How many webinars have you attended in the past year? Just select one of those. 1 to 3 webinars, 4 to 6 webinars, or are you a webinar junkie? I'll wait another minute. We've got about 3/4 of you so far who have voted. I'll wait and we'll close the poll here in just another minute. Okay, so here was the result. For many of you, it's 1 to 3 in the past year. A few more of you, a few less of you rather, 4 to 6, and some of you are webinar junkies like me. The great thing about webinars, of course, is that you can learn an awful lot very quickly without leaving your desk, and I applaud you. I congratulate you for attending today. We offer webinars very, very frequently. We have another one coming up next week, and hopefully you'll sign up for that. I'll show you the link to attend our webinar next week. That's on social media. If you'd like to try the Constant Contact Toolkit, here's a link that will enable you to do that. It's free. No salespeople will call. I've just pushed that out in the chat box as well, so if you open up your control panel, if it's closed at the moment, you can go ahead and open that up and click that link, and it'll take you right to a page where you can sign up. It'll take literally less than 1 minute to sign up for a trial account, and that will tie you directly to us. And when you do that, you'll have access to the Countess Group for some free help. And when you do convert to a paid subscription, we'll give you that free template. We'll actually also upload your contact list for you free of charge and help you get your first newsletter out the door. If you're already using Constant Contact, here's an offer for you. You can join our VIP Partner Club. And we provide up to $2,000 in free services. For those who join, you get access to some exclusive webinars that are only open to our VIPs. No charge to join. The only thing I ask is that you not be connected to another Constant Contact solution provider. Because that would be taking a customer away from them, and we will never do that knowingly. So there's a link right there, or rather the email address. You can just send an email to that address, info@thecountessgroup.com, and just put VIP in the subject line. You don't need to put anything else in there. I'll know what it's about. We'll send you an email that gives you a little more detail. So again, if you're ready for a trial, that's trythetoolkit.com. If you're ready to get a paid subscription and start your VIP club membership right away and give you access to a free email template that matches the look of your website, you can just go right there to www.toolkit.today, and that will tie you directly to the Countess Group and will provide you with the free services that I mentioned. I just put a link to that in your chat box as well. And again, you can start out at only $20 a month. That's quite a deal. It will cost you more than that to take one customer out for lunch. Let me show you what that free email template is that I referred to. Imagine that this is your website right here. What we would do is create an email template that's reusable, looks just like your website, with your logo at the top, links to the different pages on your website, social media links, using your color palette, and that is free for those of you who become a new Constant Contact subscriber today. So we try to make it easy. Should be an easy decision to start to use email marketing if you're not already doing it. There's lots of free help out there. This is all month to month. There are no contracts. So you could start. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. There's no risk at all. So again, we try to make this as easy a decision as possible. So my closing question for you really is, what are you waiting for? If you're not already using email, you should be. It really is simple. Just keep it simple. You really can do this. This isn't like drinking the ocean, folks. So I would encourage you to start today. If you have any questions, please contact us. We're Constant Contact Master Certified Experts. I'd encourage you to join us for another webinar. We have webinars on local learning going on all the time. If you use that link in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, that will allow you to sign up for any of our additional classes. Virtually all of them are free. So I'd encourage you to sign up and show up and give you an opportunity to learn some tools of the trade and enable you to be a much more effective marketer. Here's a clickable link in the chat box, so you can go ahead and go right to that URL and sign up for additional seminars and webinars. The next webinar we're doing is at noon Eastern. That'll be next Wednesday, so just go to that page and sign up. And if you join our VIP Partner Club, we'll give you a free 30-minute marketing consultation. Free is good. That's a pretty good deal. If you need additional help, please reach out to us. And again, sign up for our marketing classes. We have people that attend again and again and again because there's something new on our sessions every single time. Want a review of your most recent email campaign? Just go ahead and send me an email, and I'll send you the details on that. And as I mentioned before, we'll give you an hour of free coaching. We'll help you upload your contact list and help you get your first newsletter sent out. And by the way, if you need a speaker for an upcoming event, we do take this show on the road, or we can hold an event on behalf of your clients. Maybe you'd like to host a webinar for your customers. We could definitely do that for you. We'll actually do the marketing for you if you choose for us to do that. We're happy to help you out. And we've got a few minutes for some Q&A, so if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them for you. So go ahead and use the question button on the control panel, and I'll answer as many questions as I can over the next few minutes. And if you're tongue-tied, if you're not quite sure what to ask, feel free to reach out to us after the webinar. So I want to thank you all for joining me today. It's really been a delight having you on this webinar, and I hope that you'll take advantage of our future events and take advantage of some of the offers that we've presented today. So I will listen for some questions, and let me know what kind of questions you have, and we'll answer again. We'll answer as many as we can over the next few minutes before we shut the webinar down. Thanks for attending, everybody.